Good morning. It is Monday, February 2nd. Happy Groundhog's Day. And it is currently, I turn my watch on here. Currently 2:03 in the morning. Very early start to this video. And we're going to do a little something different than what I normally do, which is usually one night a week. I usually show Friday or Saturday night, whatever it is. This week, I'm going to do all my early morning drives, and I'm going to do it all in one video. So this may be a long video, and I may break it up into two videos. But anyway, I'm going to kind of take you through my morning drives of what I do in the early morning hours versus just one night on the weekends, Friday or Saturday, just to kind of walk you through what I'm doing. So with that, first let me catch you up on last week, which ended yesterday on Sunday, the February 1st. Actually, on Friday and Saturday of the week, let's see, that would have been the 30th and 31st. I drove in the very early morning hours then too as well. I started at midnight on both nights, and or 12:30 or something like that, and then drove through the morning hours to hit my goals on both days. And I had some reservations in there. I think on Saturday morning I had 2 reservations. Yesterday, Sunday morning, I think I had 1 or 2 as well. Airport runs, which are great, easy, rides, and usually people always tip on those, so it always works out well. But anyway, I've been doing that. I like driving those hours for a couple of reasons. One, I can clean up at the bars. At 2 o'clock, I go up to Folsom and get rides out of there. And then usually I have some reservations, starting at about 3:30. So for about an hour and a half, I'm just out taking what's out there and picking up rides as they come at me, and then start doing the reservations and see what else happens there as well. So it works out pretty well. But the main thing that I like about it is there is very little driver competition. There's very few drivers out. And that works out to my advantage, basically, to stay busy and to pick up rides. And usually the ride pay, the payout it's good because there's not a lot of drivers out there. So they need someone to do the rides, and they're going to pay a little bit better for that. So it's been working out. So with that, let me show you what I did last week. You can kind of see the leftovers from Sunday on the screen right now, but we'll look at the actual week. So there's last week for Lyft, and go look at this one. And there's last week for Uber. So very, solid week overall. Last Thursday was probably one of the better days. I think I did. I think it was something like, I'll put the number up on the screen. I forget what it was, but it was a really good day, and that was a morning and an afternoon drive on Thursday. And then Sunday I was able to close out the EV goal with Lyft, which was great. Yesterday I did like 2:15 or something like that in the morning, and that included the $40 for the EV goal. So take that out. I think it was something like 174 or something, 175, something like that. It was a solid day, morning drive. So this week you're going to see basically this start. You're going to get to see low energy BMAC starting at 2 a.m. And kind of winding my mornings up until I go to work on my day job. So we'll see how this goes. Today we start out with a couple of reservations. I got an airport ride from downtown, and then I got another one from out this way somewhere, going to the airport. I think the first one's at 4 and the next one's at 5, and then we're going to try to see what we pick up in between. Right now I'm kind of sitting in a spot where I know I should get a ride from a regular guy that gets a ride into his work, and he usually does it at about between 2 and 2:30. He requests the ride, and from where I'm sitting right now, I'm usually pretty well positioned to be able to get his ride. And on Mondays, it usually pays really well, like, $17, $18 to get him there. What I find is later in the week, they start dropping his fare down as you get closer towards Friday. I don't know why they do that, but they do, and it gets cheaper to me to get him to his job. Matter of fact, last week I did his ride, and I think it was on Monday it was like almost $19. By Thursday or Friday, it was like $11.50 or something like that. So it was a pretty significant drop. But he's a good dude. I pick him up all the time, and it works out for me because that's how I start. Because he basically pays me to go from the east side to down the west to downtown area, and that works out really well for me because that's what I need. That's where I want to go usually, because it's usually where I have my reservations, or towards the downtown area. Also, last week I did 2 private ride pickups to the airport on a guy I was able to convert from Rideshare to being my client, which we can talk a little bit about, I think maybe today or through the week or whatever. And he's going to be consistent. And it was basically asking a very simple question of him, and that was, do you travel all the time? And he said, yeah, I travel a lot for work. And I said, great, here's my card. Give me a call. I live 10 minutes away, and be happy to take your business, and we can make this work. And so far it's worked out really well. And again, he's consistent. Gives me a couple days warning. I mean, actually, when we were talking the initial time, I think he mentioned at least 5 or 6 flights, between drop-offs and pickups over like the next 2 weeks, which would be this period right now. And already I've done 2 for him. I did 2 for him in 1 week. And that's a solid ride for me. It's $55. I charge him $55 to go from Folsom to the airport, and it's working out pretty well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the week, which is kind of weird to say because this video is going to go over like 4 days, but we're going to make this work. I may split it up. Anyway, right now what we need to do, and I haven't had this at all yet so far this morning, is a little sip of coffee to get this day started. No monsters at this hour. I usually start out with coffee, and if I need a monster, it's usually in the afternoon. But yeah. So right now what's going to happen is I'm going to sit here and wait a little bit and hopefully get his ride. If I don't, I will try to reposition up closer towards Folsom to see if I can get an early airport ride out of there. Again, my first reservation's at 4, which is downtown. So if I can get one from there to downtown to the airport at about 3 o'clock, then I'll be able to drop them off and get right into downtown and pick up my first reservation from there. So that's the plan. I was a little surprised last night. Usually I get a lot more reservation offers that come in on Sunday night just because people leave on Monday. But I only got the 2, I was kind of shocked. But then again, Uber does this weird thing where like the reservations come out like at 10 o'clock at night, which I'm in bed sleeping at that point in time. And I don't know why they do that, but that's like a pattern of theirs where the reservations come out late at night for an early morning drop off, which I guess they're thinking that if you're up at 10 o'clock on a Sunday, you're going to be up at 3 o'clock on a Monday morning, which may not be the case. Generally, the bar scene is going to be pretty dead on a Sunday night, so I think most drivers are not out and about unless they're doing the airport stuff late on Sunday. Anyway, I'm going to hang out here for a little bit, and then I'm going to hopefully get this ride. And if I don't, again, I'll reposition up towards Folsom to get the day going. And then we'll go from there. So with that, I'll be back here with updates throughout the morning, and we'll talk a little bit more about my strategy on these morning drives, especially when I drive get up and drive, and I just go right to work, my day job, right after driving. So that means I'm going from 2 to 8 o'clock in the morning on the drive. And there's some things that I've been doing that's been working out really well, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit later in the video and show you what I do. All right, I'll be back, and hopefully with this ride, when I get this ride, if I get this guy's ride, I'll come back and let you know. All right, I'll be back. All right, we got our first ride. We're gonna drive up to Folsom here and go pick up Bennett and take him up into El Dorado Hills, which should work out. Because fingers crossed I get a ride out of El Dorado Hills, at least going towards the airport, which is usually a good bet. And those are usually really good rides for me, only because on the airport, that's usually a business traveler. And that works out well because usually a good conversation comes out of that. And if there's anything, maybe a conversion, which I've gotten one already with another guy. We haven't done a ride yet together, a private ride yet, but he's been talking to me, and we kind of missed on one ride. He did a late request on me, and I was unavailable when he asked. But yeah, so going up to El Dorado Hills is perfect for me as far as looking to try to get a conversion out of that ride. But we're gonna go up to Folsom here, and then go up to El Dorado Hills, and we'll see what happens. But right now, go on, car. Right now, we got our first ride, and $12 or something like that for, I think, 9 miles or something, like, but right around 9 miles. So decent ride, good way to start. Gets me in a good spot, hopefully to get a good airport ride right after that. So we'll see what happens. All right. Let's go do this, and I'll be back here in a little bit with another update. All right, I'll be back. All right, quick update. Since my first ride, I did get another ride, and it was going from basically where I'm at right now in El Dorado Hills, Serrano area, back down into Sacramento, and I was on my way to go pick up said rider, and they freaking canceled on me halfway there. It was a good ride too. It was like $24 to go like 10 miles. It was a solid ride. And since then, I've been sitting here waiting. So I think what I'm going to do right now is reposition and go down the hill a little bit towards Folsom, and see if I get anything there. I do again have that reservation at 5. I canceled the 4 o'clock one, which was picking up in downtown Sacramento, because it didn't look like it was going to work out, which obviously it's not. So that was a good cancel, because I didn't want to deadhead from here, which would have been 25 miles or something like that to go do that ride and to go to the airport. That didn't make sense to do that, so I canceled that one, and I'm just sitting here waiting to see what happens. It's a slow Monday. I'm really surprised at how slow it is. Typically, I'm a little busier on Mondays than this, just especially with business travelers. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with this Monday, but I did get another ride. I got that first ride that I showed you, I think I told you about. I know I did. Anyway, that guy threw me a $10 tip. That was very nice of him to do. Much appreciated. So yeah, so right now we're going to reposition back down into Folsom. And more than likely what's going to happen is I'm going to do that, and then they're going to throw me a ride up here in El Dorado Hills, which is typically what happens. So I just think that right now the best move for me is to move down the hill. I do have that ride coming up at 5, which is in an hour and 10 minutes, which is down that way anyway. So we're gonna see what happens here. All right, I'm gonna move a little bit, and then we'll make that. We'll see what happens with this reposition. All right, I'll be back. All right, just dropped off my reservation, my 5 o'clock reservation. Very nice couple, headed off to Hawaii. Man, they had a lot of luggage. I don't know if senior citizens travel with a lot of stuff. Maybe they're going for extended time. I didn't ask, but they had 5 suitcases between 2 people. It's a lot of stuff. Anyway, very nice couple. Gave them a business card at the end, because she said, "I hope we get you again." And I said, "Well, here, I know how you can do that. Take this, give me a call. So we'll see what happens. They seem to travel a lot, so that could work out. Anyway, here at the airport, headed out, going to go into town and see what we can pick up here. I like to drive in town, Sacramento, in the grid, starting at about 6:30 until 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock, to take advantage of the surge that happens down, the turbo stuff that happens with Lyft down there. It usually works out pretty well. And actually, what is there? There might be a little surge. What's that going on right there? 40% over at Metro. I may have to get off at Metro. I think we're gonna flip a Yui and go grab that 40%. We're gonna go grab this 40% over in the Metro Air Park because we can use that to our advantage for the next ride. So we're gonna flip a U-turn and go back out that way and grab that. Oh, it got dark on me. Anyway, the plan right now is to get into town and see if we can get some more, get maybe a couple more airport runs before the morning business commute stuff starts happening with Lyft. Last week, I banged out a bunch of little rides, like a mile long rides. When they had, the surge was like 80, 90%, 100% at one point in time. And I was just doing these little trips, one after another, getting people to work. And that worked out really well because that helped me rack up a bunch of little rides that paid well, that got me towards the EV goal. Because that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the Lyft, is basically use them for that EV goal and do these little shorty rides during the week to get to the 25 rides and bang that out real quick before the weekend comes. Last week I had to do, I think, like 6 or 7 rides over the weekend to close out the EV goal, which I was able to do on the Saturday night, Sunday morning drive, and get that done. But I kind of wanted to get it done between Monday and Thursday and just have it done and then be able to focus on quality stuff over the weekend when I'm driving then. So that's my plan as far as that's concerned. I mean, and it's an extra $40. Basically, 25 rides, those little shorty rides, at 25 of those, that's $1.60 extra per ride on top of whatever the fare is, on top of whatever the turbo is too, because there's always seems to be a good turbo at that time between like 6:30 and 8 o'clock because people are going to work and they need rides, and it bumps it up. So it works out pretty well. But right now, as you can see, we're going to go grab this 40% that's over here. And in the other video, I showed that how you can do this to get into the queue. Because as you can see, I'm still in the queue for Uber right now at the airport, right? And I'm I don't know, maybe a half a mile or about that away, whatever the Metro airport thing is. There we go. There's my 40%. Because I think you stay in the queue as far as Uber is concerned all the way to the Metro Airpark Drive, which is right here at this next light. Is where I think the geofence is, and it cuts off. But you can get in there, grab that. If there's a boost that's going on over here at the Amazon Center, because that's where this is, you can grab that boost and go back into the queue and keep it for your rides with Lyft to give yourself a little advantage, a little extra money out there, which works out pretty well. Because then you can get those maybe questionable rides that you're getting in the airport queue. If you've got a 50, 60, 70% boost on top of that, it pays off. That's just free money when it comes to Lyft, which these days Lyft has been really sucking on the driver payouts. They've been pretty low. I'm going to turn on the light here. So right now, let's get into town, see what happens, maybe get a couple more airport shuttle rides here, and then get back into town to do the commute time, and I will be back somewhere in between there with some more updates on this Monday morning of this week-long vlog, which I think is going to get broken up into 2 videos, to be honest. So I think I'm going to do a video for today and tomorrow, and then I'll do one for Wednesday and Thursday, because Thursday I drive in the morning and the afternoon, and kind of get that done. Goal for today, which is going to be a real stretch right now because I know I'm going to come up short, is 165 a day is the goal. So during the week, 165 is the goal. So we'll see how that works out for today. I know I'm going to be short, which means that carries over to tomorrow, which increases tomorrow. And generally speaking, on Thursdays, I usually can kind of make up a lot of ground on my weekly goal on Thursdays, because I drive in the morning and the afternoon. And Thursdays have just been working out really well as far as getting rides, good quality rides, and staying busy, both in the morning and the afternoon. So it's been pretty good. All right, let me since I'm driving and the car's not driving right now, let me actually, you know what we can do? We can do this. Yeah, we don't want that one. Let's see, can we get to the Sawyer? There we go. All right, now we can have the car drive. Okay, makes it easier. Anyway, we'll see what happens here. I'll be back here in a little bit with some more updates and everything, and we'll see how this morning plays out. Yeah, we're not going to do that one either. All right, I'll be back. All right, quick update. Here on the grid right now and trying to get these little shorty rides done. So far I got 2 in. I just had a ride pop up. See, these rides are going, good ride. That's a great ride. Just not going where I need to go. I can't go out that far right now because I got to be here in town. And of course, these are the ones I'm getting instead of the ones I want, which are here in town that I want to keep. But as you can see, there's a 30% turbo going on. There's my morning haul from Uber, 3 for $70, not bad. And then there's one extra one that I've done with Lyft, I think, in there so far. So I forget what the total is, but I'll put the total up, obviously at the end of the morning. I'll come back and do one and we'll show what the total is. Yeah, I'm not going to Davis either. That's not a bad ride either. But so far so good. I mean, honestly, this morning has been a little bit slower than anticipated. It's usually a little bit busier. And there's usually a much better surge happening at this point, at least turbo going on with Lyft at this point in time. There's usually 70% or higher in this last, like between 7 and 8 as people start moving and going to work. So I'm kind of surprised it's not like that right now, but we'll see what happens here. But overall, it's been okay. But these are the ones that I like right here. A little shorty, a little mile, bang bang, turn them around real quick. Just keep racking up the rides to get to eat into the 25 that I need for that $40. That's really what I focus on. Been focusing on in the mornings at this time, just to kind of bang out those rides real quick. Ooh. So that's another really good ride. Damn. Just not going where I want to go. So yeah, so that's the plan right now. Oh, there we go. We'll take that one. All right, let's go get Ariana and continue on with this morning. I'll be back here at the end of my time here with a little wrap up, and then that'll segue into tomorrow's video, which will be a continuation. All right, I'll be back. All right, that's a wrap on Monday morning. I am now headed, just dropped off my last person. I got 5 rides in, which is perfect. That's exactly what I was trying to accomplish today. Get my 5 shorties in for the day, and we're on our way to getting that EV goal. And that's going to wrap it up for Monday morning. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early again, at dark 30. and we'll do a Tuesday and see how that goes. And hopefully we get some reservations tonight to get a good start on our Tuesday morning. But it's been pretty, as I said earlier, kind of on the slow end of a Monday morning for me. They're usually a little bit busier, but I think it's going to be okay. I'll put the total for this morning up here at the top up here. Again, the goal was 165. Just looking at the screen right now, what do we got there? 97, 98 and change and whatever. There was another ride, I think, in there that's not showing up on the Lyft because it switches over at 5 a.m. So maybe close to a little over $100 or something like that is what I think it's going to come out to, which isn't bad. Again, not bad, but would prefer to hit the goal. So that's going to do it for this morning. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning, and we'll continue from there. All right, be back.